little unicorns, and welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time that you're on my channel, I'm Vanessa and I, and welcome to the fam. So you guys, today's reading is all about your love life in February of 2020. And don't you worry, because I will have more readings that are also based on your zodiac sign, so make sure that you subscribe to my channel as well as hit that notification bell in order to make sure that you get notified as soon as those readings go live. So for today's reading about your love life in February of 2020, I have prepared 4 groups that you can choose from, and I would like you to pick one of these 4 groups intuitively, so just go with whichever mineral that you feel truly resonates and vibes with you. So the 4 minerals are as follows. We have the Azurite, we have the Pyrite, we have the Orchid Calcite, as well as the Amazonite. But as you guys know by now, the timestamps are down below in the description box as well as pinned to the comment section, so you can click your corresponding timestamp in order to fast forward to the reading of your choice. And you guys, furthermore, I have an amazing new addition to my store where I sell crystal jewelry, and that is this amazing center of attention ring with a polished rose quartz stone. It is just like the most gorgeous ring ever. So make sure that you check that out down below with the link that I have provided, because all of these stones are a complete one-off, so they sell out really quickly. So make sure that you don't miss out. So yeah, you guys, that is it for the intro. I want to keep it nice and short so we can spend more time within your individual readings. So I'm going to be starting off with the first group, which corresponds to the Azurite, and to all the other groups, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello group number 1, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Azurite group number 1, and I want to get straight into your love life during the month of February in 2020. So let's see what's up for you. First and foremost, we have the Page of Acorns as well as the 5 of Shells. So one thing that I see for you, group number 1, is just like a discovery of something new, okay? This can be a new person. This can be a new sort of characteristic of yours in your love life during the month of February in 2020. So by new characteristic, I mean, for instance, a new kind of person that you're into, a new kind of vibe that you're feeling, a new place that you like to meet people. That could be online, that could be a new platform. You get the idea, just something new coming into your love life. In the 5 of Shells, one thing that I see here is kind of like readjustment, okay? I feel as though maybe you're kind of adjusting to this new vibe that you have in the year of 2020, which may be completely different to the vibe that you had up until this new year started. You may be just on a completely different wavelength this year, and you're not here to play games, and you're not here to have your time wasted ever again. So this is kind of like a readjustment that is going to give you hope in finding real pure love and just finding that twin flame connection, if you know what I mean. And then we have Awakening, as well as the 9 of Crystals. We have the Sun, and last but not least, the 2 of Crystals. Okay, so we have a lot of crystals here, which is kind of earth sign type of energy. I want you to know here in the 2 of Crystals that what is coming towards you in your love life is more balance, okay? I feel as though maybe in the past weeks and months, you have felt like things are very imbalanced. Maybe you've also felt as though you're putting more effort into a connection or situationship than the other person is putting in, and you know, just rebalancing that and just having this kind of like boss mentality of, hey, I don't need to put in more effort than the other person because I deserve just as much effort in return. That is kind of what I see here blossoming more for you. In the 9 of Crystals, one thing that I see is an increase in security. So this may mean that somebody is just more committed, that somebody seems to now get and understand that you're not here to play games. You're not here to just, you know, have your time wasted. You're here to really have something form, a deeper connection form. But I see that this is just part of your love life in a way, as though it doesn't have to be like this super deep connection where it leads to, say, a proposal or a marriage. It is just basically you solidifying your situationship or relationship, or getting to a point where, yeah, you're seeing somebody and it's more exclusive. One thing that I see here in the Sun is a lot of vitality coming from you and a very joyful time, okay? I see that your love life is bringing you a lot of joy, a lot of excitement, and just a lot of sort of renewal of energy. That is one thing that I see in awakening. In the past, you may have felt as though your love life is tiring you out and is making you feel uninspired, but not in February group number one. One thing that I see is fun. So you may go to a lot of festivities, parties. You may just feel a lot more satisfied with your love life. But let's move further into your reading. Group number one, we have apprehension and the Zen garden. So one thing that I see here for you, group number one, in the Zen garden is just the fact that you feel as though you have this inner sanctuary, okay? You feel unbothered. Nothing that anybody else does in correlation to love or your love life is going to get you to sweat it, okay? That's just not happening. You're focused on the big picture and you're not going to let any, people trying to get you out of your feelings, you're not going to allow them to accomplish that. You're going to stay steady in, where you are right now mentally. You're going to stand your ground and you're going to make sure that you're in control emotionally. Furthermore, in apprehension, one thing that I see here is just moving out into a new kind of world, okay? I see that you're afraid, you're very apprehensive, you're very fearful of going on a specific date, say in February, or just meeting with somebody, getting out of your comfort zone and allowing that person to see you for who you truly are. So this kind of apprehension could be a little bit of a blockage to your joy, to your happiness, to this renewal and energy. So just having you be aware of it can already be all that you need in order to make sure that you, in that moment, you think to yourself, okay, is this what I had heard from my reading? This sort of apprehension of getting out of my comfort zone and just being who I truly am. And that may just be the reminder you need in order to come out of your comfort zone, in order to go on that date, to allow that person to see who you truly are. Then we have the seer, we have the elder, as well as winter. Okay, group number one, last but not least, I want you to know here in these three cards that one thing that I see is just you kind of taking care of your needs as well as just looking ahead. So you're in February going to say to yourself, wow, what have I been doing in my love life? Am I building that perfect love life that I desire? Or am I just going to tire myself out in the long run? So one thing that I see for you here is that you really need to consult in who you want to be. That is one thing that I see in the elder. You cannot allow ancestral patterns, just what has happened in the past with, say, your mother, your father, your siblings, somebody who is in your family, somebody who is very close to you. They may have had a turbulent relationship, and that is one thing that you picked up on maybe as a child or as a teenager, and you felt as though, well, maybe that's how some relationships are meant to be. But one thing that I see here is that you can see beyond those types of limitations. And why I'm calling them limitations is because being in a relationship like that can limit you to think that this is as good as it can get. And that is not true. So one thing that I see here is just like eye-opening kind of experiences in February with yourself mentally that lead you to a point where you understand, like, hey, I can build my own love life. I can build my own life. I don't need to be dependent on a pattern that has been present in my family. And last but not least, in winter, I see that you are going to just turn to yourself and ask yourself, what do I need in love? What do I need in order to be happy? And that is what I'm going to accomplish. I'm not going to wait for somebody to show me that better is possible. I'm going to know and believe that I can do better, and then go out and make sure that I'm being valued and make sure that I'm receiving the exact amount of attention that I require. No matter how much or how little that is, know that you're deserving, group number two. And that shift in thought is one thing that is going to just lead to a big kind of energetic change, okay? That is one thing that I see here in readjustment, and as well as renewal, just a big, it's almost like an oil change, okay? And your motor, the way you run, the way you function in love is going to change completely from that moment on. So group number one, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Let me know down in the comment section what really hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, group number 2, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Pyrite group number 2, which is also known as the Fool's Gold. It is a stone that stands for abundance as well as prosperity, especially financially, group number 2, which is why you may have chosen this stone. But let's move further into your reading to figure out what's going on in your love life. So we have the 9 of Acorns as well as the 2 of Shells. So group number 2, the 2 of Shells is arguably one of the most beneficial cards when it comes to your love life because it stands for togetherness, harmony, you know, a partnership between two people, a union. One thing that I see here in the 2 of Shells is that chances are great for that to develop for you in February of 2020, as well as in the 9 of Acorns, just being the one who's kind of like in the position of power, okay? I see that in this relationship, you're going to be the one pulling the strings, you're going to be the one who basically takes the lead, okay? And one thing that I see furthermore is that what can really allow you to get the most out of this situation is just to persevere, okay? If you felt as though love is a little dead or a little slow, get yourself out there, okay? Don't feel as though things will just come to you. Know that sometimes you need to go out and get them. You need to make sure that you attract them. But let's move further into your reading. We have the Tower as well as the Empress. So in the Tower, one thing that I see here is release. So in correlation to the 2 of Shells, this may kind of confuse you. You may think to yourself, how am I going to get together to like a relationship? How am I going to have this union and at the same time have a big sort of release happen in my life? So it may be that you're letting go of somebody, okay? This does not necessarily need to be a romantic interest. This may also be a platonic one, but it could also be romantic. You may come to the epiphany that this person that you're currently seeing or that you've been interested in is actually not good for you and actually will not be able to satisfy you because they have their own things going on or they're really not your soulmate, okay? And that's just point blank period how it can sometimes be. But furthermore, there can also be friends in your life that you have to let go of when you start to realize that you're just becoming a different person. You just don't get each other anymore. You're just going in different directions in life at different paces, and you just have to leave them behind because the relationship is not working out, and maybe there is some sort of bitterness. But I want you to know here in the Empress that you being the bigger person when it comes to love and your relationships in February is so important because I see that you have a lot of beauty, okay? February is a month where you're shining a lot, where you're glowing a lot from the inside, and I see that that attracts abundance into your life. So focus on the abundance that's in your life. Don't focus on anybody who is trying to diminish it or anybody who is trying to make you not feel as good about it, because you know, when you read a negative comment, you need, I think, like 16 positive comments in order to just neutralize the negative comment. So that's not even undo it, it's just neutralizing it. So keep in mind that as humans, we often focus on things that are not so great in our lives, in our love lives, when we could just try and really work on not allowing those things to have an impact, because more often than not, we have more positives in our lives, but we refuse or fail to see them and cherish them. Don't let that be you, group number 2. Then we have the Moonlight Goddess as well as liberation. So we have a feeling of being free. That is one thing that I see in liberation. I see here that once you're able to break free from negative attachments, that is when you will be able to truly like feel yourself, feel your body, feel your love life blossom and flourish. So it's important for you to break free of this sort of instinct of focusing on the negatives instead of the positives, and it happens to the best of us. Don't feel like you're alone or like that's like a big fault in your personality. It is not, group number 2, okay? A lot of us struggle with that. Even the most successful people on this planet struggle with letting go of negativity, but it's important for you to detach yourself and to cut the cord. In the Moonlight Goddess, one thing that I see here is that there's some sort of emotions that are coming back up. I see a lot of reflecting and healing on your past romantic relationships. So in correlation to love, I want you to know that reflecting upon what has happened can be very therapeutic, and it can lead you to a lot of conclusions of who you want to continue being and who you would rather leave behind. So no matter what kind of relationships you may have been in the past, you know, you always play a different kind of role, and you have different things that are great about you and different things that you would like to kind of forget, different roles that you have played in relationships where you're like, wow, maybe I was a little too pessimistic, maybe I was a little too hard on this person, maybe I let this person get away with too many things that I shouldn't have let them get away with. So know that reflecting on the past is not a bad thing. Don't try and just tell yourself, whatever, I'm moving on, I don't really want to think about this. Don't attach your memories to a person, because when you're with somebody and they did you wrong or it just didn't work out, you can often not want to think of the relationship just because you don't want emotions to resurface. You don't want feelings to come back up. But you have to detach your experience from the person just in order to learn, just in order to like look at it objectively and say to yourself, okay, this is how I was in this relationship and this is what I would try to improve and this is what I would like to take with me on my journey of love. But let's move further into your reading. We have the Oracle, we have the Magic Guardian, as well as the Arrow. So one thing that I see here in the Arrow is that there's a lot of protective energy around you in correlation to love. You may want to put that shield down, okay? You may want to put the protection down. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to fight back. You know, the Arrow is not necessarily only about defending, but also like actively engaging in fighting back and just sort of like protecting yourself, being more offensive, okay? And in the Magic Guardian, I want you to know that you have the magic within to not have to step out of your core, step out of your character and show a side of yourself that you don't really appreciate. You know, like when you're seeing somebody or you have friends and they say things that are really untrue or that really bother you and you put them back in their place, but then you kind of feel bad. Then you kind of feel like, that's not really me. I would have rather just been the bigger person. That is what I see here for February. You have to make sure that you focus on being the bigger person and not trying to be right, not trying to put people in their places, because you will regret it later on, group number 2. Furthermore, here in the Oracle, one thing that I see here is that you have to give it a little bit of time. There is a connection here for you in February of 2020 that is romantic or bordering on romantic. But the thing is, like, you have to give it time to get the information that you want and need from the person in question, because they are a little shy, they're holding back, they're not 100% sure. But in order for you to be able to move forward and to retain the information that you need and to really know whether this could be something for you or not, you need to wait out a little more information and a little more action from their side, because just going off of the information that you have right now is not a good idea. Allow them to reveal a little more of themselves, allow them to come out of their shell more in order to figure out, am I really compatible with this person? Is this person serious? Does this person want a serious relationship, or are they just kind of playing games right now, you know? So in general, in love for February, you are being urged to give things time in order to really be able to read the person in front of you or the person that you're dealing with, so that you do not get involved with somebody who does not have the same goals and intentions as you have, group number 2. So keep that in mind. Just wait out a little more information till you're like, yes, okay, I know what this person wants. So group number 2, I truly hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope that it gave you insight as well as a little bit of peace of mind. Let me know down in the comment section if it did, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Orchid Calcite group number 3, and I want to get straight into your reading to figure out what's happening in your love life in February of 2020. So first and foremost, we have the 5 of Acorns as well as the 9 of Shells. So I want you to know that there is a little bit of a side of you that is roaring, that is out there, that wants to grow and that is up for a challenge. And then there is a side of you that is kind of a little bit reclusive, that kind of wants to just Netflix and chill, relax, and just show the world how grateful you are for what you have and that you're fulfilled, that you don't necessarily need a lot in order to be happy. Okay, we have a whole bunch of cards that want to be present in your reading, group number 3. We have the Shaman as well as the Emperor. So I want you to know here in the Shaman, the shaman, okay? I know my pronunciation is not always the best, okay? German speaking problems. I want you to know here that your spiritual power is really on an all-time high. I want you to know here that you have this divine feeling of, okay, this person is good for me and this person I have a weird feeling about. And I don't want you to engage too much with the kind of people where you get a weird vibrational sensation from, because oftentimes there's a reason why you're getting that sensation, and that does not mean that they are bad people. And group number 3, you're the kind of person who may think to yourself, oh my God, I don't want to put somebody in a box because that makes me a bad person, that makes me somebody who is unjust, okay, who doesn't give everybody a fair chance. But I want you to know that that is not true. It does not mean that that person is a bad person, or that you are insinuating that that person that you're staying away from is a bad person. Not at all. I want you to know here in the Emperor that you're focusing on your gut feeling and how you feel like somebody is in correlation to your vibration. You're focusing on that because you can determine who you really vibe with and who you don't vibe with. And it's completely okay. You are not going to be best friend twin flames with the entire world, right? I mean, that makes complete sense. So why should you try and engage with everybody the same length of time? You know, there's a difference between giving somebody a chance, and there's a difference between already knowing that you're probably in 2 different places and it's just not the right time for that connection. And it is okay for you to look away, to walk away, and to focus more on connections with people where your personalities just link up. So take charge of that, okay? Know that a lot of growth happens when you're assertive and when you're able to leave guilt behind, group number 3. Then we have the Wheel, as well as the 6 of Acorns. We have the King of Crystals, the 4 of Crystals, Strength, as well as the Knight of Feathers. So we have quite a bit of crystals here, earthy energy. I also want you to know here in the Knight of Feathers that you're going to be taking a lot of action when it comes to love, okay, group number 3. There's a lot going on for you, and I see also a lot of successes. That is what I see in the 6 of Acorns. I see confidence, okay, and you being able to be triumphant. So triumphant is different for everybody else, and I want you to know in the Wheel of Fortune that there are a lot of different possibilities here. For one person, being triumphant, maybe, you know, getting that ring, getting that little engagement rock. For another person, being triumphant could be just finding themselves more and being more assertive when it comes to love and the kind of partners that you choose. Either way, I want you to know in the Wheel that February in your love life may be a little bit tumultuous. And I'm not the kind of reader, group number 3, that's just gonna sit here and tell you that everything is fine and dandy. There will be ups and downs, and there may be a few tears. But I want you to know in the 4 of Crystals that you can get security from those closest to you, and you can get this kind of like stability and feeling of control back, to where you don't feel like, you know, love is happening just to you and you have no control over it. You can get more stability back just by confiding in those closest to you, as well as working on your career, okay? That is one thing that I see here in the King of Crystals. I see here that you have to commit to your career. You have to make sure that you're courageous enough to sometimes also just turn away from love when love is being sucky, because sometimes you're texting somebody or you're talking to somebody and you feel like everything is going great, and then all of a sudden they ghost you. All of a sudden everything changes, or they become distant. And those are just situations that can make us feel very insecure and sad and like crying, and we become very stagnant, because guess what? We're not focusing on our work, we're not focusing on our other relationships, we're not focusing on ourselves. But not in February, group number 3. We're not doing that month, okay? It is important for you to turn away and focus on yourself. It is important for you to take action in your career, to take action in your personal life, and to not let that affect you negatively, because at the end of the day, you don't know whether that person is still going to be in your life a month, 2 months, 4 months, 4 years from now. So why let them affect possibilities in your job, possibilities for you personally that could, you know, affect you positively for years? Why let them take that away from you, all because you're bothered about them maybe not responding or not being the way they used to be in this very moment? You know, you may not even remember them 4 years from now, but if you take this job opportunity or start your own business, you may have an empire 4 years from now. You understand what I mean? Just really weigh what is important to you, and that will give you the strength to just say to yourself, you know what, this is BS. If I'm not getting the attention and dedication that I know I deserve, then whatever, I have other things going on in my life and I have an amazing life to build. But let's move further into your reading. We have the Medicine Guardian as well as the Druid. So I see that you should definitely just hold the space when it comes to love, especially if something is bothering you, okay? Don't get into any sort of commitment. I see that February of 2020 is not necessarily the month for you to go into any heavy commitments when it comes to love. I see here that it's important for you to be open to information that you receive. So you may receive information about somebody that you're seeing. You may retrieve information because you're a little detective, group number 3. You may be lurking on their social media and so on and so forth, or you may hear something from somebody that really leads you to see this person in a different light, maybe in a better light, maybe also in a light where you understand this is not the person for me. So take any information that you can get and make sure that you focus on retrieving this information. Focus on making sure that all your ducks are in a row before you commit, okay? February 2020, not the month for heavy commitments. Also not the month for an engagement, not the best month for a marriage for you. So I just want you to know that here there is a lot of growth happening, but not in a way how you're just committing yourself to one person, one soul, if you know what I mean. Then we have the Flame Tree. So there is a start of something new. This is really exciting, group number 3. I want you to know that most likely why there isn't any heavy commitment here is because there's somebody new coming into your life, okay? The start of something new, and this could mean the ending of old situationships and connections that you may have had, or it could just mean that, you know, you're being a little bit more picky and discerning with the people that you already knew prior to February, because there is this exciting new person that is coming right into your life. And in correlation to the King of Crystals, as well as the Knight of Feathers, one thing that I want you to know here, that they're most likely very, they have phallic energy, very masculine energy. And in strength, I see here that they're wise beyond their years, even though they may be older than you. They're still the kind of person who has a lot of courage to be different, to stand out, and also to be empathetic instead of to be argumentative, okay? If somebody wants to do them wrong, they just sit back and they're like, sure, you know what, when you're done, let me know. When you're done, tell me when you're done, but I'm just not gonna let it affect me, and you can act a fool however you want to act. So I definitely see this person being a leader figure, being somebody who can delegate, and somebody who is kind of like the head of a business or a corporation who is high up in the ranks because they have that self-control. So a very interesting person entering your life, group number 3. I really hope that you're excited, and I hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope that it gave you confidence. I hope that it gave you motivation. Let me know down below what really hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Amazonite, group number 4, which is especially for any of you who are hot-headed or hot-tempered, and fire signs, of course. But I want to move straight into your reading to figure out exactly what is going on in your love life in February of 2020. So we have the Knight of Crystals as well as the Traveler. So group number 4, one thing that I see here in the Knight of Crystals is a lot of determination as well as endurance. So there may be somebody who is trying to get closer to you, somebody who is trying to prove themselves to you and is determined to show that, yes, you know, this is a great idea to establish this connection. Furthermore, in the Traveler, you know, in correlation to just the adventurous energy and spirit that we have in the Traveler, I want you to see that there's a lot of potential here for new beginnings in love, as well as just this person showing you the ropes, showing you like, maybe you should give this connection a try. Maybe you should give this connection just a little chance, you know, maybe you should think outside of the box. Then we have the Knight of Shells as well as the Empress. So in the Knight of Shells, I see a lot of passion, okay, and I also see a lot of charm, both coming from you as well as people around you in love. So there also may be an element of seduction, somebody kind of trying to get a little closer to you, but you have to watch out, because in the Empress, one thing that I see is that there is a tendency in February for somebody or certain people to want you because of your looks, because of your appearance, because of physicalities. And of course, you don't want anybody to just be around you or get physical with you and then leave because that is all that they wanted. So one thing that I see here in the Empress is just that you have to hold yourself to a high standard, okay? Keep yourself protected and don't just allow anybody through the door and right into your heart. Even though you're somebody who's trying to be open-minded, trying to be caring and giving, there's a way to do it, group number 4, and that is not by making yourself vulnerable at this point in time. Then we have the Warrior as well as the Stag. So I want you to know that in both the Warrior and the Stag, we have a very strong presence here that is able to stand its ground, okay? That is one thing that I see here in the Warrior. You have to be fearless to say no, especially if somebody is basically just trying to push forward physically, but not establishing that emotional connection, not making sure that there is commitment, okay? I want you to know that if that is something that you don't want, you have to be fearless to say no, to say that is not happening. I am not a takeaway buffet where you can just have whatever you want and leave. This is not how it works. In the Stag spirit, I want you to know that you just need to trust in that and be able to know that you will thrive. Because at the end of the day, if you don't trust that the best decision for you is to put these sort of borders, this distance, to establish this kind of hierarchy where you say like, I'm not down here, okay? I am better than that, I'm more than that. I know that I'm up here and I'm worthy of respect that is up here. It is important for you to trust that that is the right thing to do, because most likely, group number 4, the person who did not want to respect you and that hierarchy that you presented for them is most likely not the one for you and is most likely not going to have a positive impact on your life in the long run anyway. So you wouldn't want to get all that close with them, if you get what I mean. Then we have Moonlight as well as Jewel in a Teardrop. So this may be a little bittersweet, group number 4, because sometimes you really want things to work. Sometimes you really want to give somebody a chance, and if you like them, you may even think to yourself, oh, you know, like maybe I should just put my expectations down a little bit, or maybe they will actually change. But no, group number 4, okay? We are not going to take chances or risks with that. I want you to know here with Jewel in a Teardrop that you have to appreciate yourself to the point where you're emotionally so connected and intertwined with who you are at the core and what you know that you deserve, that you don't stray for it, but instead you trust and you thrive, okay? You trust that this is what you deserve and this is what will come in your life. And if anybody doesn't respect it, doesn't want to play that role, then you leave, okay? Then you leave, but you will thrive because you will find a circle of people, a romantic relationship where you are valued the way you should be. Then in Moonlight, one thing that I see here is that there's a lot of potential for romance in travel. So getting away from the city that you live in right now, moving to another country, another place, just taking day trips. I see that there's potential to meet somebody on the road. There's potential for you to establish a connection that is pure, to establish a connection that is really worth it. So try and make time to get a little out of your regular space, out of your comfort zone, in order to meet a new person on the road and on the go. And we have Lady as well as Mountains. So we already spoke about this in the Warrior. We already spoke about this in great length, but there is just another indication for you, group number 4, to stand your ground. There's a reason why the Mountains showed up within your reading. There's a reason why you're supposed to know that you have to stand your ground, because your ground may have been shaky. You may have been doubting a little bit how high you're setting your standards, but don't, group number 4, okay? Because I know when the going gets tough, you just want to kind of like lower your standards just in order to make sure that you're not missing out on your love life. But let me tell you from experience, you're not missing out, okay? Lowering your standards is just going to allow people into your life who don't belong in your life and who are not going to bring you anything but more heartache. So just take this as a little bit of advice from kind of like a big sis, if you will. Then in the Lady, one thing that I see here is that there is a lot of potential for growth, okay? As long as you focus on yourself and your career, the people around you who you love and cherish, I see that you're able to grow as a person, but as I said, don't allow somebody who is causing emotional heartache, who is causing emotional confusion, to get in between you and this beautiful growth that you have a lot of potential for. Then last but not least, we have the 4 of Acorns as well as Temperance. So Focus on, temperance. Focus on making sure that everything is happening in balance. Don't overindulge in alcohol or any other sort of drugs. Make sure that you're always fully present, okay? And make sure that your mind, your body, your soul is in harmony. It is important for you not to think to yourself that, okay, if I'm not emotionally 100% fulfilled in love, I'm going to go out and fulfill myself 100% with filling up my belly with stuff that I just love, okay? And of course, if that is healthy stuff, go for it, but mostly that is not healthy stuff. So make sure that you're not all of a sudden, instead of being with toxic people and consoling yourself with people who don't value you just because you don't want to be alone, make sure that you don't go out and then in turn console yourself with things that are not healthy and console yourself with things that are just slowly but surely detrimental to your health. In the Four of Acorns, one thing that I see here is that you can find a lot of comfort and a lot of support in a like-minded community. So that may be, for instance, the tarot community. Maybe you feel very happy here on my channel. You want to share a little story, a little something that you learned, or something that you're focusing on for February, and just receive support like that. It may also be another community online of a kind of hobby that you're into, where you can write in a forum and just feel like there's community, like there's support, like you are around like-minded people who can keep you on the right track. Of course, one thing that is great for you here in the Four of Acorns is to indulge in a creative venture, as well as talk about it to your friends and your family to get your mind off of anything that makes you think, oh my God, maybe my expectations are too high. They are not too high. Newsflash, group number 4, okay? And I'm here to make sure that that is instilled in you, ingrained in you, and that you never go through a dry or lonely phase where you think to yourself, let me lower my standards just in order to like get things a little bit more exciting. That is not excitement. Trust me, it's not going to be for the good of you, for your highest good whatsoever. Keep your standards high, group number 4. You deserve to, and it's important for you to make sure that you maintain that self-respect that you have, okay? Do not allow anybody to make you doubt that. Do not allow life to make you doubt that. Make sure that you always stand strong in your beliefs as well as in your integrity. So group number 4, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Let me know down below what really hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos.